Hello, Leo. Thank you very much for tuning into your love read. For the main read, I'm going to use The Witch's Tarot by Ellen Dugan, illustrated by Mark Evans. And for the supportive oracle cards, the Angels Answers Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. Okay, those are good. We're happy. Now we're going to do relationships first, singles second, and I only pull out the oracle cards as needed. Leo? Yes. Okay. Ooh, I haven't seen that card in a while. I really haven't seen that card in a while. I feel like those two want to go there and this one's on top. Yes? No? Yes? Alright. Alright. Only one oracle card. Alright. The oracle cards don't seem to want to be popping out today for whatever reason, but that's fine, as long as we get the information. This card really is pulling me in, and I really wouldn't usually talk about it at this point because it's in the future. It seems like where things are in. It seems like where they're going before they get better. So on your side, it's the Five of Wands. That's like, maybe I've been watching too many Game of Thrones things going on because a lot of dragons are having a fight. There's 5 dragons really, but there's definitely this is a fight. This is an argument. This is a heated one, and I'm noticing it's on your side. So it seems like what we're going through here is kind of leading you up to this moment where you just have had it. So I feel like if we keep that in mind, if this rest of this hits, maybe the whole part of this is to like vent this before it hits that point for you. Because I feel like you might have this moment where you're like, you know what, I'm fine, I'm over it. And you just push it out of your thoughts and you kind of move on. But when something comes in front of you again, it ignites and poof, you let somebody have it. That's kind of what I'm seeing here. So I feel like the only reason we're talking about that right now is because it may be something that you don't want to happen the way it looks like it's going to happen. So hopefully, like, seeing where this is starting from, this will help you vent it or circumvent this outcome as it seems to be heading towards you. Okay. Now, spiritually, I'm noticing you have the Six of Wands and your partner has the Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords is a communicator. Very forward, very apt to start communication. Gets right out there, you know, goes out into battle, like lets you know what they're thinking. I feel like this person is pretty forward with what they're thinking, forward with their thoughts. Six of Wands on your side, that's something you like. They communicate with you, you like that, you know where they stand. You see, like, I feel like they communicate and things go forward easily because of that. Now this seems like an interesting spot to start with, because this is spiritually where you are. Things seem to be matching quite well. Now, I'm also noticing what's keeping things where they are right now is this is what has the situation where it is right now. It's keeping it where it is. Queen of Swords versus the Page of Cups. And I almost feel like it is a versus here, because you're the Page of Cups. They're the Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords can be very direct. She's very honest. If she's upside down, that's a whole different story. But right side up, the way I'm feeling with her, she's usually right to the point. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I see. It really gets cuts right to the bone. Queen of Swords, like, gives it to you. Direct, honestly. Page of Cups on your side, you like the honesty's coming forward. You like the honesty. But I feel like what's coming towards you, even though you like knowing the truth of where your partner stands, it could be it could come across a little nicer. I feel like it's coming through a bit biting, and you're trying to look at it in an optimistic sense where you'd like to be included in these thoughts. You'd like to know where they stand, but they can be a bit nicer. I feel like you're not happy with how sharp it's coming across. It's a bit too sharp. Now, this is the beginning of what we're heading towards, this moment where you finally, because I feel like this is starting it. Because they're a little bit too direct, and it's coming off a little biting. And you're trying to be like, you know what, they're communicating, I want communication, I don't want to stop communication, but it could come across a little better. And I feel like you're not telling them that it could come across a little better. This is starting to, like, this is getting the situation going. This is heading towards that argument. Just so you know. Now, I'm noticing here, this seems to be the next part I'm drawn to, and it feels like this is part of the same. Part of the same. The Moon with the Queen of Swords. Alright. So the Moon with the Queen of Swords. It doesn't. It's over dramatic. It's over dramatic. That's what I'm getting with this. Like, your partner's coming off a little over dramatic. They're biting, but they're trying to be a little dramatic. I feel like it's over dramatic, and that's the problem. That's not good. They're over dramatic. It's not. It doesn't have to come across that way. And I feel like that's how you're feeling. Like, it could come across a little nicer, and I don't know. They're like, it's coming across too strong. With the Moon, with the Queen of Swords, I'm really getting, like, over dramatized. It's not as intense as they're making it out. Page of Cups with the Six of Swords. I feel like you're just letting it go. As you notice, those cards fly out of my hand. You're letting it go. They're advising that you don't. I feel like that's what we're saying here. This is starting it. This is starting the problem. I feel like this might be where you already are. You might have already let this go a couple times, and I feel like you need to address it now. But I'm also kind of feeling it might be already to a point where it's sooner or later you're going to actually say exactly what you're thinking and feeling about the situation. It's over dramatic, and I feel like you're trying to let it go. You're trying to just get over it. You're trying to be like, you know what? Whatever. It's fine. Like, whatever. You're just trying to move on from it. Like, you know, it's not that big a deal. I don't really care. You know? I feel like you're almost looking at it like, yeah, I know they're being a little bit over dramatic, but why make it an issue? I'm just going to move on from it. Now, these cards are like explaining this feels like the base of it's going to come to this argument. What sets it off is the question. Now, is this? No. Communication. I'm pulling more to where they're standing. Now, they're standing in the world. You're standing with the King of Pentacles. I feel like it's more about what they're doing, though. They're moving something into a new phase. There's a whole new phase of life going on for your partner. For whatever reason, be it financially, career-wise, change of life, they're moving into a whole new phase of life. Something is changing. Like, it could be career, like, or a move. Like, if it's a move, I assume you're a part of that move, but it's definitely, if that's what's happening, it's affecting them differently than it's affecting you, for whatever reason. However this is going forward, they are going through, like, for them, whatever they're going through, it's a change of life for them. Change of career, change of something. So if this is hitting, something is changing for them. Something is definitely... It could be the loss of a loved one, too, like a parent or something like that. I feel like there's definitely, like, a change of life going on here. Like, life is not the same after this moment for them. Something is going on in their life that's changing. So if this is hitting, that should make some sort of sense. That energy is what's making this overdramatic here, because they're venting to you in an over-dramatized way, trying to deal with whatever's going here. Trying to deal with whatever's going on here. Sometimes, I don't know, I live out in the country, but sometimes things go by the window and I'm just like, anyway. They're going through this change of life. Let's just say that. Leave it at that. And that's why they're venting this, and they're kind of dealing with that by venting on you. All right, so that seems to be setting the stage a little better. Why this is happening. Okay. I'm also noticing you got the Four of Cups with the Knight of Wands. This change is happening. This change is definitely happening on their side. If this is hitting, a change is happening on their side. But even though they're going forward and doing it, I feel like they're saying that they don't really want to. Whatever's happening, they don't like it, and they're not happy about it, but they're going forward with it anyway for whatever reason. This seems to be what pushes you over the edge. Something about this situation, this change of life going on, they don't want to do it, but they're going forward with it anyway. They are still moving forward. Something they don't want to do that they are doing, and they're complaining about it, but they're still doing it. Catches you the wrong way, and boom. Boom. That's where it comes out. You just give it right how you're feeling, and the argument happens. It happens. I'm noticing again with the King of Pentacles balancing out the world. Like, I don't feel like it's you that's changing here, but something. I feel like that's the reason we're seeing the the King of Pentacles on your side is because it's not you that's changing here. They're changing. Something in their life is changing. Your life seems to be staying the same. And I feel like that's why we have these two cards together, because we're trying to make a point here that your life doesn't seem to be changing. But even if you're moving, it's affecting them really strongly, but it's not, like for you, it doesn't seem to be really throwing you in the air. It's not throwing you for a loop. So if you are moving, which I'm assuming together, it's upsetting them in some way. And they feel like a whole part of life is ending. You seem to be just rolling with the punches and you're okay. So even though you might be going through this change together, the way it's affecting them as opposed to the ways it's affecting you, you seem to be going with it fine. But they're having a hard time with it. And it's when they start complaining but they're going through with it, yet they're still complaining, that sets off, it's like it ignites things. It's not good. That happens. You're still stable here. You're still the Ace of Pentacles, but you also have the Three of Pentacles right next to it. Like, you're still where you were before. You're still the same person you were, same position you were in this relationship. You still feel the same way you did. But there's the Three of Pentacles. I feel like there's some damage from this argument. Like, you really said what you felt. You did not hold back. You just had it. You had it. You had it. It came right out. Like, I feel like it, boom. I don't feel like you wanted it to, which might be why it was very biting. I feel like it came off crossed really strong because you didn't really want to. And then this moment just hit you just right, and you're like, I've had it. There it goes. That being said, like, your partner, like, they're devastated. I feel like when you come across, you have an intense strength. Leos are intensely strong anyway. Usually, the ones I know, I really can't think of a Leo that I know that isn't really strong, at least in the sense of, like, when you push them and they've had it, they explode and you know it. I don't think that's one of those signs where you really wouldn't say they were cute when they were angry, because they're scary when they're angry. That's one of the, usually, if you resonate it with what I'm used to seeing. So they got the message out. Like, when you vented, I feel like you got your partner good. Like, you told them what you felt, and you came across with a very strong intensity. They feel it. They definitely feel it. Like the Ten of Swords, they're kind of crushed. They're kind of crushed. I'm noticing, though, the Three of Pentacles on your side, which means you still love them. You're just trying to fix the situation. But whatever was said in this moment, I'm not sure. I'm wondering, because, like, and I'm only saying this because I've known a couple Leos where they go off and things just come out quickly, and they might not realize what they said. And afterwards, they're like, I didn't say that. And somebody else will say, yeah, you did. I'm wondering if if you're getting to a point where you're so mad that it just kind of and it just so much comes out so fast, they hear it loud and clear, but you might not realize everything you're saying. In the sense of, like, you might not remember everything you said. You just were angry, and it came all out, and you just flattened him. Him or her, whoever it was, you flattened him. Whoever it was. Now I'm looking for like. I feel like we're talking about this again. Like, if this is hitting for you, like it is a general read. If it's hitting for you, dealing with this more in the beginning, I feel like you might get angry, but I don't feel like you'll be gushing out in the sense of like just things just flying out of your mouth. Because I feel like if you wait and it just kind of like a cork popping, if that happens, just things are gonna fly out of your mouth. Just and you're gonna flatten your partner, flatten him, her, whoever it is. If you address it more in the beginning, in this part where you're trying to let it go, I feel like you might still get angry, but I feel like it'll be more controlled in the sense of like you'll remember everything you said and you'll know easily. Like I just feel like the anger here might have a life of its own, and you just might. I really feel like you're gonna flatten your partner verbally. You're gonna flatten him or her, flatten him. Now, I'm seeing some face down cards here. So even though they seem like they're flattened here, you're not. Your love is still there. You still love them. And you're trying to make things better because I feel like after the fact you're realizing like you flattened him or her, you flattened him. They have face down the High Priestess and the Fool, which means I feel like as they go forward, they might be a little more quiet, but they're also like, it's going to take them some time to kind of like bounce back a little bit. I feel like they're owning some of it because they're realizing like the way they went about things and the over dramatization of the situation. Came back and bit him in the butt, him or her, whatever. But the High Priestess with the Fool, I'm getting like they're moving back into more of an optimistic thing. I don't feel like anything is really damaged here, but I feel like there's a little bit of a recovery time where they might be a little bit less communicative. Throwing out these $10 words now. And it's just going to take some time for them to get over it a little bit. Because I'm getting like there's a lot of strength, and I don't feel like you mean to flatten them. I just feel like the moment happens and you flatten them. So I hope that doesn't come across defensively because that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to point out that like your strength is something. It's definitely something. But if you're able to handle it in the beginning, it won't build to a point where you're just so aggravated, just it pops off and you flatten them. I feel like you might get a little angry, but it won't have nearly the effect it will as the gate just kind of bursting open and just kind of like poof. I hope that has a positive spin because I feel like the whole thing, especially when they pointed this out in the very beginning, I feel like you want to avoid this. I don't feel like you want to erupt because I feel like there's like an eruption feel here. Because I don't feel like you really want to tell your partner about how you're feeling because you're thinking it's just better, let's let it go. It's not a big deal. Whatever. It's fine. And because I feel like you do move on from it and it just goes out of your thoughts and you don't really say anything. But it's like repetitious. It keeps kind of happening. And I feel like you need to like voice it sooner. You might get a little upset about it and it might come across that way, but I feel like there's a lot more control in your arena dealing with it now while it's a smaller thing. Instead of waiting to that point where your partner's like having a fit and they're complaining about they don't want to do this, they don't want to do that, yet they're still doing it, and then you just kind of flatten them. It'll recover. It'll still be okay, but I feel like you'll be happier yourself if you're able to handle it in the beginning. Okay, so I feel like that's there. Hopefully that helped. It is a general read, so hopefully if it did resonate with you, that has an outcome that you can change to your benefit so it's not so uncomfortable for you or your partner. I feel like Leos to me, maybe it's stereotypical. I think of them as extremely strong, and I've known a few. There's one I can think of in particular, and she was usually quite nice, and she would take some bull for a while from certain people in her life. But once they stepped on her foot just the right way, she made it quite clear what she thought about that and about everything else that they'd been doing. It just all came to the forefront. And I feel like after the fact, she didn't really like that, but she did also say that it was the truth. It was just not the way she preferred it to come out. Then again, it's just one Leo that I know. Now, Leo singles. What do we got for Leo singles? Empowering information for Leo singles that can help them move forward in a way that suits them, makes them happy, gives them control. Okay. So Leo. Single Leo. I got more cards popping up there. Can we stop? I don't know. I feel like there's another card or two over here. I feel like you're dealing with something in the environment that might be an issue. Overall, I don't think it's a bad situation you got going on here. I'm getting this Knight of Swords in the base of what's going on for you. In the sense of, like, I feel like you'd like to go farther with the situation, but at the moment you're kind of restricted. Now, when I'm looking at this, I'm also noticing the past with the High Priestess. It's very much somebody who balances out a situation, you know, sees the good side, the bad side. You've been paying attention, but I feel like you've been balancing what you know against what you feel. It's been a little bit of a mystical feel here in the sense of, like, the emotions are there. I always feel like you might be keeping how you feel under wraps, in the sense of, like, you might not be really letting the other person know how you really feel. I feel like you might be around them and you might be a little coy, or you might show them some favor, but you haven't flat out told them how much you really do like them. And you have the Eight of Pentacles I'm noticing at the top here too. You've been looking, you've been paying attention to this person very much. And even though you're feeling like you can't really do anything about it right now, you're looking, you're picking and choosing your battles. You're looking ahead. You're like, you know what? Maybe this is a good idea. Maybe I do want to do this. Something about this seems to be, like, restricting you a little bit, though. I'm getting this restriction feeling again. And I get that you're watching. I get that you're, like, I feel like you're being very careful. And for some reason, you're looking at the good and bad of the situation and you're trying to, you know, actualize if this is something you're going to be able to be a part of. That seems interesting how that's coming through. Able to be a part of. Now the environment, there's 4 cards here, which I did not expect so many. So this person you're dealing with, and this might explain why you're kind of feeling the restriction. They got the Ten of Wands. That's somebody who's, especially in this card, because I don't feel any sticks are falling. They're carrying everything they have. It's just they're shouldering the burden and they're continuing on. But they don't seem to be dropping anything in this one, I'm noticing. But it might also feel like it's like a far cry before that burden will be released. The Nine of Cups. Even though it's a burden they're carrying, they're proud of their strength. They have enough, they have they're proud that they're able to do it. They have a lot of dignity that they've been holding things together and going forward, and they're making it. They carry that bundle, it's a heavy weight, but they also have some pride about it too. You're like, I've been shouldering this burden and I'm going to continue to shoulder this burden. Which is the Seven of Pentacles. I'm going to continue to shoulder this burden. It's not over. It's got some more work to be done. It's not ready. Can't put it down yet. It does feel like the end is in sight of, though. The end is in sight of this burden. Whatever they're dealing with, I feel like that's a big factor here for you. Something's going on in this person's life. It's a burden. They're proud that they're able to succeed, but they have to work to succeed at it. It's not done yet. And there's a lot of strength here. This person is very strong. So I feel like we're talking about a very strong person, very proud, shoulders burdens. Like, this isn't like just airy pride. This is like, there's a reason for this pride, and it's very well warranted. I feel like you would look at this person and be like, you should be proud of that. That's good. Like, I feel like you would acknowledge that that's a lot to handle, and that's one of the things you like about this person, that they can shoulder a lot of responsibility and keep going. So this seems to be a lot of what's going on. Now, that being said, you do have the Queen of Pentacles for where you're standing. I feel like due to all these burdens this person's going through, you're trying to hold back. You're trying to be more reserved. Because I'm getting a reserved feeling with this. This is where you're standing at the moment. You're trying to be reserved. You're trying to. But your thoughts, the death card in this situation is good. You want this situation to take birth. You want something new to come out of this. You want the old to pass away, and you don't want to be a part of what's been going on. You want things to change. You want to go into a whole new era. And I'm using the word era because you also have the world card here in the center. So it's kind of like your thoughts are saying, I want this to change. I want to change. This is definitely a change card. I want things to change. That's in your thoughts. Again, world right here in the center, which is why I'm change, moving into a new era. You want to move into a new era. So even though you're being conservative at the moment, at some point, you're going to offer this cup. Because you got the Ace of Cups and the World here. I feel like even though this person's going through burdens, you're just like, you know what, let me help you with those burdens. Let me make this easier for you. I feel like you're just you've been trying to hold to the side, let them do what they need to do, but you're just like, you know what? You help everybody, let me help you. I feel like that's the energy coming in at this. Now, it's a general read, so it depends how it falls for you. I feel like you want to get in there and help them. You're just like, you know what, I understand you have things you're going through, let me help you. Don't worry about it. I think you're worth that. So I want to help you. Definitely getting a helpful energy here. Because I get the World, the Ace of Cups, and then the Sun card in the future. This card likes to be out today, apparently. I'm feeling it here. I'm noticing, I don't know if you could tell. I don't know if you can really tell if you're looking at the Sun. Kind of has a heart aura around it. Like, I feel like you're extremely happy. I feel like this person accepts that. Accepts your idea. Or whatever involvement. They're okay with it. I get a yes in that sense. It seems to be going forward for you. Which is interesting because you felt very restricted. But now, you're just like, you know what, you go forward. You're like, you know what, let me try to help you. Things go well. Your outcome. What is going on with the outcome? So the outcome is the Seven of Cups, the Five of Cups, and the King of Swords. I feel like this situation has more going on than you realize. I feel like this is deeper than you realize. The Five of Cups, I feel like you might be a little overwhelmed because you didn't see part of this. So, Seven of Cups, Five of Cups, there's a lot more going on than you expected. You might be a little bit overwhelmed. King of Swords, I feel like you're still sticking with it. I feel like you're staying with it and you're pushing through. It may be slightly overwhelming, but I feel like you're one foot in front of the other. I don't feel like you want to give up because you've gotten this far. I feel like you're sticking with it. King of Swords is a communicator, somebody who uses their thoughts, somebody who uses their mind to their advantage. The King is very accomplished. So I feel like even though a lot is going on here you weren't expecting and you might feel a little overwhelmed, you're pooling your resources. If you have to talk to somebody else, one of your friends or family members or whoever who's gone through something similar to get ideas on how to handle this, I feel like that's exactly what you will do. You're looking for, how do I handle this? The King doesn't run away. The King stands and fights. He figures out what needs to be done, and he does it. And I feel like that's you in this situation. The whole warning here, though, is there's probably more going on here than you're expecting. And you might have a moment there that you're like, do I really want to be involved in this? And then you immediately go, I am involved in this. And the King stands and fights. He fixes. He doesn't just give up. He's like, well, this isn't working, so what do I need to do to make it work? That's the energy I'm feeling here. All right. I feel like that's going to round out your reading here for the singles, correct? Yes. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up here. Thank you for watching. Of course, if you'd like a direct reading from me, go ahead and shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com, james4astral@gmail.com. Thank you.